Red leather, yellow leather, here we go.
Ask them questions and ask them if they have any questions. I think students will engage more when they're being asked, so when they're given something to do as opposed to you simply doing everything yourself.
Vary the lesson rather than just doing a whole lesson of them sitting there and doing the same exercise questions for the whole hour. Spend time talking to them about the content and trying to show them how to do it best, and then let them have a quick go at it and go back and discuss the questions and see where they can improve and what areas they're doing really well at. And try and give it have a multifaceted approach, rather than just making them sit there for a whole hour. They get bored.
Change it up a little bit to bring their attention back. So I like to just suddenly instead of writing out heaps of things, maybe we'll have a quick conversation and asking them quick questions to think on their feet to get them back into it again. So then that way they're like, oh, I can't be checking my text.
So this kind of seems, I think, trickier than it actually is, because it's one-on-one, it's really kind of not easy to engage them, but I mean, there's not much else for them to actually do. So as long as you're talking to them constantly, asking questions as well. So even if you're kind of controlling maybe most of the dialogue and explaining things to them, make sure you just keep asking them questions just so that they're engaging with you and not just like sitting there and like listening but not absorbing anything in. Does this make sense? Is there anything else that we should go over before we move on? Keep it friendly as well, because that's a good way to engage them. You want them to feel like you're having conversations, not just not just a strictly professional relationship, but yeah.
I like to change up the modes of which I teach, use different styles, different platforms, turn things into games, turn things into little hands-on lessons.
Keep to their interests, so if they're interested in sport, maybe have an example from sport to do with mathematics. Like if they're interested in the outdoors, you could go outdoors and do some practical examples, and that might help engage their learning.
Engagement is actually pretty difficult because, especially these days, even though you say no phones or whatever, I've noticed that recently a lot of students have their Apple Watches and they can check their text messages and things like that through those resources which they always have on them. So I think it's very much about being okay, so this is our 1 hour of tutoring. It's important to put that away and really focus on the session. As
all students have a different approach to learning, and if you can effectively, mold yourself around how they learn, that'll really benefit the student.